Greetings, I'm Karen, 31 years old, currently residing in Houston, Texas, though I have plans to relocate soon. I recently extricated myself from a tumultuous marriage that lasted a year and a half. Thankfully, my father and the police played pivotal roles in helping me break free. I acknowledge that it was my own mistake to enter such a situation. Perhaps, had I been more discerning, I would have declined the ill-fated marriage proposal. Historically, I've always been a reserved and introverted individual, preferring the company of my computer over social interactions. The virtual world consumed much of my time, with sporadic visits to pubs for a drink being my only ventures into the outside world. Unfortunately, these outings often attracted the attention of strange individuals, leading me to adamantly reject their advances due to concerns about personal safety. Tragedy struck early in my life with the untimely death of my mother when I was 8, a result of an untreated heart condition. Raised by my father, a Marine since the age of 25, he frequently embarked on lengthy journeys through adventurous waters. Despite missing him during those absences, he maintained a connection through letters and occasional calls to my late mother. Upon my mother's demise, my father returned. Finding me distraught beside her casket, he consoled me, expressing astonishment at how much I had grown. Reassuringly, he assured me that everything would be okay now that he was back. Clutching his uniform, I continued to cry in his arms. That night, as I fell asleep, I witnessed him alone on the couch, consumed by sorrow, muttering to himself before burying his face in the cushion and shedding tears. A poignant moment, marking the second time. I witnessed his tears for the first time when I took a tumble from the slide and got hurt. Perhaps he harbored guilt for everything that had transpired. After a 3-month hiatus, he resumed work, leaving me in the care of my grandmother during his absences. He emphasized the importance of being kind to Linda, assuring me that she was there for me. "You'll be a good girl and help her out. I'll come back soon, my dove." Before departing, he entrusted Linda with teaching me to bake my favorite sweets and dishes, expressing eagerness to try them upon his return. Aware that he would be away for about 7 months, I received gifts and souvenirs from the places he visited. I predominantly stayed indoors, assisting Grandma with chores and avoiding interaction with other kids. As I matured, my dependence on the solace of my room grew. Eventually, my dad sent me back to our old home. Despite my reluctance to attend college and engage with people, the internet became my refuge. It provided a sense of confidence that the outside world couldn't match. Each online interaction carried its captivating narrative, offering both excitement and solace. Communicating with people whom I might never meet in person allowed me to share my thoughts, feelings, and interests without fear of judgment for my introverted nature. In this expansive web of connections, I discovered friends who truly understood me. People from diverse cultures, backgrounds, and experiences entered my life through the screen. Exploring their stories proved fascinating, highlighting the similarities that bound us despite our differences. The internet transformed into a bridge spanning continents, uniting us in ways once deemed unimaginable. It was on this vast digital landscape that I encountered someone named Anthony. He identified himself as a streamer, or so he claimed. It all began with text-based chats, gradually evolving into video calls. Maintaining a degree of anonymity, I opted for a Batman mask, while he chose a scarf and a beanie to partially conceal his identity. "Hello, Karen, it's a pleasure to finally see you," he warmly greeted. "Hi, Anthony, nice to meet you. Well, virtually," I responded. "Likewise. So how's your day going? How many people have you chatted with so far?" he inquired. "I'm doing well, just a bit nervous, to be honest. And you?" "It's completely normal to feel that way, but trust me, I'm not intimidating. I'm just as awkward as you are. This is our first proper conversation after all. So, Anthony, tell me more about yourself. What brought you to this online platform?" "Well, I enjoy meeting new people and exploring different perspectives. I find myself staying at home more often than I probably should, and this online community seemed like the perfect opportunity to change that. How about you?" "I'm a typical introvert, so traditional social settings can be challenging for me. Online platforms offer a sense of comfort and allow me to open up a bit more. I completely understand. Virtual connections can be surprisingly meaningful. I'm glad our paths crossed." Our dialogue progressed, exploring common interests and sharing anecdotes. As the conversation unfolded organically, my initial unease gradually dissipated. "You know, I never anticipated feeling so at ease talking to someone online. Thanks for making it effortless. It really makes a difference," I confessed. "The sentiment is reciprocal, Karen. You're an exceptional conversationalist, and I'm pleased we made a connection. If you ever want to chat again, just give me a shout. I'm usually online playing Mario. Oh, almost forgot. Are you into gaming? I'd be up for that, Anthony. By the way, no, I primarily blog and browse through Reddit. There's some incredible content to discover there. I find that I learn more from other people's stories than from real-life examples. True, our own lives can be a bit disheartening at times. It's captivating to delve into the lives of others. Look at me, he shared. I place more trust in my online friends than those present in my physical life. The beauty of virtual connections lies in the freedom from the obligation to maintain constant contact. You can either embrace it or let it be, entirely your choice. Throughout our ongoing conversation, Anthony and I have forged a genuine connection, overcoming the fact that we are virtual strangers. Our shared understanding and open-mindedness have fostered a sense of friendship that transcends the confines of the screen. Although the path ahead remains uncertain, one undeniable truth is that my online experiences have significantly shaped my identity. As I navigate through life, the lessons learned from my digital haven will forever be ingrained in who I am. Conversely, my father is an exceedingly cautious individual. If he were to discover that I am forming friendships with people I have never met, he would be infuriated. During his last visit, he took the opportunity to sit me down during dinner and deliver a lecture. "How are your studies, Dove?" he inquired. I informed him of my graduation, to which he responded, "Well, you wouldn't know. You didn't come." Remorseful, he explained his busyness, but I was unimpressed. He even apologized for missing my birthday, to which I retorted, "Stop calling me names, I'm no longer 8. Despite his concerns, he inquired about my future plans and encouraged me to consider working. When he discovered I lacked physical friends, he expressed disappointment, emphasizing the importance of socializing with the world. Frustrated, I confessed my struggle with socializing, prompting him to propose a solution. He suggested we go out for some shopping, just the two of us, in an attempt to bridge the gap between my online world and the physical one. I've been staying indoors a lot lately, unsure if I can or even want to go out. "Karen, you have to try. This isn't a healthy way of living," my father insisted. "Ever since Samantha died, you've become." "Why are you bringing Mom into this? What are you trying to suggest?" I interrupted, feeling defensive. "I'm not suggesting anything, honey. I'm just saying there are ways to move on from grievances. As much as we both love your mom, we must learn to move on." I felt a surge of anger and slammed the table, abruptly standing up. I didn't want to finish my food, so I took my plates to the sink. "Karen, don't give your father that attitude, please. I was trying to help you. Why don't you understand?" pleaded my father. "You don't know anything about me, so don't even try to," I snapped. Frustrated, I went online to find Anthony. Initially, he seemed like a nice person, understanding and willing to listen. I valued having someone to talk to, especially about the frustrations building up within me. As an introvert, I found solace in the familiarity of my home and the company of my computer screen. While others ventured into the world, I preferred the safety of my virtual haven, where I could be myself without the pressure of face-to-face interactions. Lately, my father has been pushing me to step out more, especially since I revealed that I spent most of my life online. I anticipated this reaction. He wouldn't understand. He believed that staying confined within my room would hinder my growth and personal development. He wanted me to experience life outside my comfort zone, and that thought terrified me. I confided in Anthony, venting my frustrations and seeking understanding. "Hey Karen, do you want to meet up? I mean, we're both introverts, so we can choose a quiet place with not many people. I know a place like that," Anthony suggested. "I don't know, it feels sudden. I need time to think," I responded. "Just wanted to tell you whatever was going on. No worries, I can wait. Whenever you feel like it, you can always drop by here. Take my address. You're always welcome." I couldn't help but wonder why Anthony was being so kind to me. "I may be a stranger, but I genuinely like you. It might sound unusual, but I'm serious. I want to get to know you better, and if you ever feel the same, you know where to find me." Stepping outside my comfort zone was a significant moment for me. My heart raced with a mix of excitement and nerves as I stood outside Anthony's home, finally ready to meet the person I had been conversing with online for the past month. Surprisingly, Anthony lived very close to me, just a 16-minute drive away. Taking a deep breath to gather my courage, I knocked on the weathered wooden door. It creaked open, revealing Anthony with a warm smile that instantly eased my apprehension. He was a charming young man, and while his home might not have been conventionally stylish at first glance, something was endearing about its authenticity and lived-in charm, making it feel welcoming. As I stepped inside, I couldn't help but notice small details that spoke volumes about Anthony's character. The well-loved classics on the bookshelves, the stack of board games, and his computer setup. "Welcome to my humble abode. Your gracious presence was much needed, my fair master, he said playfully, using some gaming language that I probably wouldn't understand. The cozy atmosphere intrigued me. This is quite a cozy place. Do you live alone? I asked. Nope, my fair princess. I live with my mom, she lives downstairs. I have the top floor all to myself. Come, I'll show you around, Anthony replied. We spent the day talking, laughing, and discovering even more about each other. Meeting in person added depth to our connection, and I developed a newfound appreciation for the person behind the screen. Anthony was just as kind and genuine as I had imagined, and his quirky sense of humor only made me like him more. As the sun dipped below the horizon, Anthony suggested we take a stroll outside, and I agreed without hesitation. Wandering through the nearby park, our conversation flowed effortlessly. My initial nervousness transformed into a feeling of comfort and ease. Being with him in person felt like an extension of our online chats, but with an added layer of intimacy that only face-to-face interactions could bring. Then, amidst our conversation, Anthony interjected. Wait, are you telling me you didn't celebrate your birthday? Yeah, I just wasn't in the mood, and besides, my dad was harsh. I didn't know how to face him after the argument we had. Oh, I'm so sorry that happened. I'm sure he'll come around. He's your father, after all. I made a mistake by placing too much trust in him. His words seemed sweet like honey, but I failed to realize I was merely a pawn in one of his games. As our dating journey began, he transformed into an excessively possessive and jealous partner. Insisting on constant phone or online communication, he would become angry if I tried to engage with anyone else. Despite the warning signs, I bought into his declarations of love and protection. Why did I believe him? As our relationship deepened, it became apparent that his mother disapproved of me. The realization that she held negative feelings towards someone she hadn't met in person was disheartening. Her disapproval weighed heavily on me, and I couldn't help but question why she couldn't see the genuine love and care we shared. Anthony's close bond with his mother was noticeable, and he often identified himself as a mama's boy. While I respected their relationship, it created a noticeable distance between us. I recognized the importance of family to him, but I couldn't shake the feeling of being an outsider navigating the complexities of his mother's disapproval. The most peculiar aspect was his mother secretly desiring our marriage. Knowing I had no one in the world, and with my father not staying with me, she may have viewed me as a convenient servant. Not every parent is perfect. Consider your dad, for instance. At least my mother cares about me. Anthony, when you talk like that, it genuinely hurts. Then understand that I'm the only one for you. Your dad doesn't love you. I do. Stop complaining so much about my life and try to find a middle ground. We ended up having a secret marriage. Anthony prevented me from inviting my father, claiming he would never approve of the wedding. He successfully manipulated me into thinking my dad didn't love me, and I silently entered into marriage. I recognized I had placed myself in perilous waters, attributing my actions to a weak character. Call me a feeble woman, but my personality was shaped by my surroundings, and I blamed myself for not making an effort. After a few months of marriage, I witnessed a side of his mother that I never anticipated, one filled with cruelty and malice. She seemed to derive pleasure from intentionally torturing me, making me question my worth and leaving me shattered and defeated. It all began with subtle comments and passive-aggressive remarks, gradually eroding my self-esteem. Initially, I tried to dismiss it, thinking her disapproval would fade over time. Unfortunately, it intensified into a full-blown campaign of emotional torment. What is this? Do you call this food? You expect my boy to eat this atrocity? Go make it again, stupid girl. Why is there so much dirt here? Are you blind? What a shabby girl. Get up, lazy girl. Take the trash out now. Henry, have your parents taught you nothing? Her words cut like a knife, leaving scars deep within my soul. She questioned every decision I made, belittled my achievements, and manipulated situations to make me feel unworthy of Anthony's love. Meanwhile, my amazing husband remained in his room, either listening to a song or playing video games. It felt like I was trapped in a never-ending nightmare, and despite my efforts, I couldn't escape her grasp. I was consumed with internal rage. My own perceived stupidity and weakness fueled that rage. How could I be so weak? I longed for my dad. I regretted fighting with him. I shouted at him and told him to leave me alone. With a heavy heart, he left a few days after my birthday. Now I felt stuck, convinced I deserved every bit of the misery. One day, when I wasn't feeling well and was feverish, I curled up on the sofa hoping a nap would bring some relief. Almost asleep, I was abruptly jolted by a cold gush of water violently splashed at me. I awoke with a sudden jolt, feeling a rush of panic. Evelyn, wearing a disgusted expression, confronted me with questions about my presence on the couch and the completion of the grocery task she had assigned. I remained silent, and she accused me of shirking responsibilities while expecting her mother to handle everything. Her frustration escalated, and she slapped me, repeatedly calling out Anthony's name. Overwhelmed, I finally snapped, expressing my refusal to continue catering to her and her seemingly ungrateful son. I declared my decision to leave, but before I could make my exit, a blunt object struck the back of my head, causing me to lose consciousness. Upon regaining awareness, I found myself in a dimly lit room with a faint bulb at its center. My head throbbed with pain as I attempted to stand, but my efforts were futile. Confused and in pain, I heard muffled sounds approaching. Crawling towards the noise, I discovered a metal door with a small window. As it opened, Anthony's sinister grin greeted me. In desperation, I pleaded with Anthony to release me, insisting it wasn't a joke. His response was chilling, recounting how this was my consequence for raising my voice at his mother. He promised to ensure I never saw daylight again, revealing a malicious intent. My pleas for mercy fell on deaf ears as Anthony callously condemned me to what he referred to as my little cave. As I begged for freedom, Anthony coldly reminded me of my perceived lack of family and worth, insinuating that I was a forgotten soul. He accused me of squandering an opportunity his house had provided for a fresh start. Desperate and apologetic, I pleaded with Anthony to reconsider, vowing to make amends for my unintentional actions. However, my pleas were met with indifference, leaving me trapped and uncertain of my fate. I dislike being left in the dark, playing the role of a helpless daughter waiting for her father to miraculously rescue her at the sound of his name. The window slammed shut, leaving me alone in the cold, dark basement where fear and anger coursed through my veins. How had things spiraled to this point? All I had done was stand up against my mother-in-law's unreasonable demands, and now I found myself paying the price for asserting my independence. Feeling a sense of hopelessness, I checked my pockets and discovered my broken and shattered phone. Just as despair began to settle in, I noticed a faint blinking on the screen. With trembling hands and tears streaming down my face, I dialed my dad's number, the faded screen barely allowing me to see the digits. I recounted the horrifying situation, clinging to the slim hope that he could somehow rescue me from this nightmare. 4 days later, as despair threatened to consume me entirely, a car pulled up outside the house. My heart pounded as I strained to hear footsteps approaching the basement stairs. The door swung open, revealing my father standing tall and unwavering. A mix of relief and disbelief washed over me. I couldn't believe he had dropped everything to rush to my aid. Accompanied by a few cops, he swiftly dealt with Anthony and Evelyn, who futilely attempted to lie. My father sternly addressed them, condemning their actions and warning them of the consequences awaiting them in court. As he questioned their motives, I felt a renewed sense of courage and determination. Escorted out of the dark basement by my dad, I realized that despite the ordeal, I had the strength to face challenges head-on with his unwavering support. From that day forward, I made a solemn vow to stand up for myself and never let anyone silence my voice. I had learned the hard way not to rely on online strangers. The traumatic experience had convinced me to leave Texas and move to New Orleans with my dad, deeming it a safer choice. As I looked towards the future, I harbored no intentions of allowing Anthony and his mom to escape justice. I hoped that they would rot in jail.